the great thing for me and the University of Florida, NIL is going to be a strength here. So, we've got our strategy and our plan, and we're excited about executing that going forward. And we just happen to be at a place that has tremendous history, tradition. NIL is no problem. It's a slam dunk at Florida, and our players are going to benefit from that, and we're going to execute that and try to help our team and help the Gators win.
College programs must be competitive in name, image, and likeness. It impacts current athletes and affects the decision of recruits. And Gator fans can put Florida at the forefront of name, image, and likeness. The Gator Collective is leading the charge, uniting fans and student athletes like never before. Commit for exclusive content, interactions, and events which bring you closer than ever to your favorite players. In this talent acquisition business, name, image, and likeness will play a huge role in Florida returning to the elite status of college football. It can start here. Join the Gator Collective. Link is in the description.
Gators Breakdown, because there's never a dull moment in Gator Nation.
The Gators Breakdown podcast is ready to go. I'm your host, David Waters. You can find me on Twitter at GatorDave_SEC. If you don't follow me there yet, go ahead and do so, please. Hey, you get all these updates right there on Twitter, but of course, bringing you know why you're here. You see it, the title of the episode. You know what's been going on all weekend, all day right here on this Saturday. I am coming at you late because, of course, you guys follow it just as close as I do. We did get the commitments of Castell, Jordan Castell, and Andy Jean. But, of course, rumblings of more coming. Still want to wait a little bit to see if that would happen. Some little blunder that happened right before I decided to go live. So I'm a little later than I planned to be, but you know why you're here. But it is a little bit later. I didn't want to really record too early and then something else happened and then have to, do it all over again. But here we are, late Saturday. Look, if it happens I'm recording 9:30. Over 100 of you right now on this Saturday night. Thank you very much for hopping in. But if something happens, put it in the comments section. I don't really have Twitter open right now. I'm sure somebody will text me as well. But I doubt anything happens this late at night. With as far as another commitment, it would probably kind of get lost there. But if it does, I should be prepared for that. So, but yeah, right here on this episode, Jordan Castell, Andy Jean, both 4 stars. Castell, a defensive back, more than likely safety for the Gators at the next level, and then Andy Jean, the wide receiver, hopping on board right here for the Gators. So we'll get into those 2 commitments for the Gators. Gators are on fire right now on the recruiting trail. Say it again. We circled this end of July of what would the direction be for Florida recruiting. We would get our answer. Probably, not at the end, nowhere near where we want Florida to be come December, come February, but we would get a better idea of where the class was headed, where it would be trending, the type of commitments, the type of players Florida would be getting. We've got a pretty good idea right now. So we'll get into those 2 new commitments, but before we do, everybody joining me right now, hit that like button. It really helps us out here on Gators Breakdown. If you're watching live on that YouTube version, subscribe. That helps us out as well. Check us out at the home of Gators Breakdown, newsforjacks.com/Gators Breakdown, and Gators Breakdown Plus, that Discord. I'm telling you, it was one of the busiest days we've ever had right there on that Discord. Some new members also. If you just signed up for Gators Breakdown Plus, thank you so much. Everybody who joins, new members, old members, have a chance to win those pair of tickets for the Utah game. And then a lot of stuff just going on there right now, but conversation-wise. So, all right, without further ado, let's keep it going. You know why you're here, Gator Nation. Let's go. We got to commit. Let's start with the first one on this Saturday. Defensive back, Jordan Castell, 6'2", 195-pound safety from Winter Garden, Florida, West Orange High School. as you see right there, about a top 200 player. If you look on the 24/7 Sports Composite, he is a 4-star there, the 202nd overall player in the country, the 13th ranked safety, very similar to On3 and their consensus. He is a 222nd ranked player overall, also the 13th safety in the country, coming in as a 4-star there as well. So changed his commitment date from October to today. And we knew this one was very, very, very likely to happen. He's been liking almost every commit Florida has had since then. He's been basically recruiting for Florida on social media over the last little over month or so. I saw him at Friday Night Lights last night. He's in a Gator hat. He was not even really hiding it. So we knew this one was coming, and credit to him for sticking to his date. This date right here, but still kind of getting into the feeling of being a Gator. Changed that October date because it was an ode to his father that passed away. But he moved the date up today, and if you watch the commitment on YouTube. He had his jacket with his dad on it, and then took the jacket off and had the Gator stuff underneath it there with his mom. They were on campus at the University of Florida, getting ready to go to the cookout. And when he's sitting there committing, says, I said, this one, it wasn't really a secret, but Florida getting a good one here. Top 200 player in the country, 13th ranked safety by both services. So if we go to 24/7, Andrew Ivins, he says a large defensive back prospect here is Castell, measured just under 6'2", 200 pounds in his spring before the senior season. Likely to settle in as a safety on Saturdays, given his size, but spent much of his junior year working as an outside cornerback in a defensive scheme that put him in a lot of one-on-one situations. Ability to body up and hang with large wide receivers or hybrid slot tight ends is without a doubt a strength, as he understands how to put himself in position to make a play on the ball. Isn't one that's afraid to make an open field tackle either, and has gotten better and better in run support over the years, as he will sift through traffic before finding leverage to making a stop. Top end speed is a big question mark with no testing on record, but has shown some situations that he can close gaps on Friday nights and does change directions pretty well for someone on the taller side. Should be viewed as a potential multi-year contributor at the Power 5 level, given his build and skill set. Will probably need a year or two in the weight room, along with some time to learn the system at the school of his choice, but might have a chance to contribute early on in a career as a special teamer, given how he tackles. Corner could very well end up being his home, but he's also the type of defender who could get looks elsewhere in the secondary, and maybe even linebacker, depending on how his body fills out. We go to the other side on 3, Charles Power. His analysis says a versatile defender who can cover in the boundary, line up over the slot, or even bang in the box with the front 7. Lines up as a corner for his high school, but has size and frame to project as safety long-term. Stands in right around 6'2", 200 pounds, and nearly 6'5" wingspan. Tremendous frame with excellent muscle definition, built like a linebacker. Seamlessly eats up yards with his stride length. Here is one speed here. Ran a 17.44 and a 110-meter high hurdle during his junior track season. Has the hip fluidity and footwork for press man coverage. Lacks ideal range and twitch to play over the top or field corner. Needs to have a defined role at the next level in order to fully implement his skill set. Best fit is a walk-down safety who can cover jumbo slots, tight ends, or carry running backs out of the backfield, one of the older prospects in the 2023 recruiting cycle. So you look at, that's the type of player Castell is, and I mean, just from what we've seen from Florida the last couple of years at that safety position and the struggles tackling at that position, now we hope that is changes with the coaching transition this year, of course. But you need somebody right there at that last level of defense to be able to tackle, to help, control some of those big plays, especially some of the run plays that we saw last year Florida give up. That last line of defense there is that safety's got to make that tackle, got to be able to sift through traffic, got to be able to get the right angles. And at the high school level, that's what Castell shows here, according to that analysis there. And one more defensive back here that when the ball was in the air shows that, he thinks it's his. And I love that mentality there. So that's just one more aggressive style of player. If you do look at his huddle highlights, there is a lot of press coverage. There is a lot of in the face of the wide receiver, as I said, and plenty of return ability too. And as they said, in the college level, his speed's probably not going to wow you, but probably fast enough there to still make some plays. Not a burner by any chance. There's a reason he projects at safety, mostly his size, but also I think just the top end speed, not to play corner there at the college level. So, but very versatile. It's good that of course, Georgia's offense may not be like this in a few years when Castell gets on the field a bit more. But if you were to play a team like Georgia and their big jumbo sets and their big-bodied wide receivers / tight ends that they're going to bring to the field this year, you'd want somebody like Castell on the field. So now you look at what Florida has with Castell, and that's not too long after getting commitment from Jakeem Jackson, right there at the cornerback spot. Sharif Denson, more that nickel inside. I talked to him last night at Friday Night Lights, and you guys, the interview we had with him a couple weeks ago, but also talked to him a bit last night, and it's even further confirmed he's going to start in that inside corner, the nickel. So you get you a safety right here in Castell. Get you one outside corner there, Jackson. And Denson on the inside. And you add that to the terrific haul of last cycle with Devin Moore and Kamari Wilson. Florida's got a pretty good start with this secondary under this staff. Sorry, guys, my allergies bother me right here. So now I know we have to add you're looking at secondary, and like I said before, right? Literally a minute before I decided to come live right here tonight, the storyline of Dijon Johnson ramped up a bit. One service out there decided that they were going to release that he committed to Florida tonight on this Saturday night and then had to pull that back. So we'll see where that goes. But yeah, do we like Florida's chances there? Probably. But we have to, now possibly add him to the mix of this secondary group. Castell, Jackson, Denson, and now the big-time storyline of Dijon Johnson. We've followed that storyline like crazy the last couple of days. But here's a refresher, of course. Getting word earlier this week that he's going to decommit from Ohio State, flip to Florida. Then we get word on Friday Miami's been pushing as well. And then, he's going to visit Gainesville on Friday. And then he's going to go to Miami on Saturday. Well, Florida put a stop to that. Some say that wasn't even in the plan anyway, but he was definitely going to be in Gainesville on Friday. In Gainesville on Saturday. Would he leave Gainesville early enough on Saturday to make it down to Miami on Saturday? Well, that didn't happen. Been in Gainesville the whole time. Decommitted from Ohio State on this Saturday. So that sets it and that sets the flip in motion to happen. And then that's one reason, of course, I don't know when it's going to happen. So I'm trying to decide when I would record. But then, as I said, I put myself on an 8:30 deadline. Whatever happens, I'll go live at 8:30. Getting ready to go live at 8:30. And coincidence, that comes out from Rivals putting out that Dijon Johnson did flip to Florida. But if you're out there, if you saw it, they have pulled that back. Was not supposed to be out. And then we'll see what happens next. But there's you getting caught up right there. There's your storyline for there. But Castell, Jackson, Denson, possibly Dijon Johnson. And I know it's come up. I've been asked a few times about it. This does not affect the commitment of Cormani McClain one bit. You know, Florida isn't pursuing, Florida isn't targeting defensive backs out there because they don't think they're not getting McClain. It's not what's happening here. He's still the number one target. He's still very interested in Florida. Was on campus last night, Friday Night Lights, on campus today or Saturday for the cookout. He sees all this going on. Now, don't get me wrong, numbers, you see the numbers are high. Can be high for the defensive backfield. But we know what happens here. You know, it's time to stack talent. And for this position group, defensive back, what better way? For a DB room that's led by Corey Raymond and Patrick Toney, to me, you can't have too many DBs. Can't have too many high-level DBs. I don't think it's going to affect him. Florida's definitely going to be pursuing. He knows the interest is there. See where that one goes. I don't know. The timeline for that one, you have to think he's probably going to take it the distance or close to the distance, whether it be early signing day, maybe around the All-Star game announcements. Can Florida do enough legwork Friday Night Lights, the cookout on Saturday? It's been an eventful couple of days. Hopefully Florida, the push there is enough to go ahead and, try and get McClain in this class. All right. Well, let's keep it going. Castell wasn't the only commit of the day for the Gators. Gator Nation, we got another commit. Wide receiver, Andy Jean. Surprises Gator Nation a bit. Knew this one was trending. Especially if you go and look at what happened on Friday Night Lights. Andy Jean, for a time, was right at Billy Napier's hip. Hanging out with the head coach. It was pretty easy to spot there. But Andy Jean, former Miami commit, by the way, commits to the Gators. He is a 4-star on both services as well. On the 24/7 Sports Composite, he is the 332nd ranked player overall, 42nd wide receiver, and on 3, he's a 4-star as well. 353rd overall player, and 49th ranked wide receiver on 3. So another 4-star to add to the class right here for Billy Napier and the Gators. And the Gators, this one should be publicized a bit more for the storyline of beating Miami for Andy Jean. We know the trend of Florida-Miami battles this whole summer, and it has not been all too pretty for Florida. But Miami was trying to get back into this and knew he was on campus in Gainesville this weekend and was making a push to make sure he doesn't make a decision, maybe getting back on campus in Miami. Now, this maybe not be completely over. But he commits to the Gators. Miami, I'm sure, will still try. That's what happens in recruiting. But you got to feel great about what Florida was able to do here. Jean was a former Miami commit when the Gators beat him out here. And this won't get publicized like the Malik Bryant and Jaden Rashada, but I'm going to publicize it right here. Florida beat Miami for Andy Jean. So let's go to some stats here for Andy Jean. He caught 40 passes for 733 yards, 18.3 yards per reception, had 8 touchdowns in 14 games while playing in Florida's 6A classification. Let me tell you that's one of the toughest out there in the country is Florida's 6A classification. And he's putting up big stats right there. And arguably his best game against national powerhouse IMG Academy, caught 6 balls for 122 yards and 2 touchdowns in a loss to IMG, but putting up big stats against that powerhouse. Now, a lot of people will look at the rankings here, a 4-star, but ranked 332, 353, but it's a track star. Doesn't camp a lot, and we know what happens there a lot. If you don't camp a lot, unless you're just the can't miss type of talent, you're going to get docked a little bit, and there's going to be a lot of eyes on him coming up this fall because everybody I talk to, and this is not to make it sound rosy for Florida, but this is one they think is a little bit underrated, but they want to see just a bit more that they didn't get to see on the camp circuit because he runs track, doesn't camp a whole lot. But from everybody I talk to, this is one of the best wide receivers in the state of Florida. One of the best route runners in the state of Florida. On 3 had this to say about Andy Jean, a savvy receiver with shiftiness in his routes and a large catch radius, measured at around 6 foot 180 pounds prior to his senior season, has long arms with a 6 foot 5.5 wingspan. Link shows up on the field, by the way, with a considerable catch radius, able to high point the football in contested situations, in addition to extending for throws across the middle of the field. Plays faster than he tests, showing some deceptive play speed on vertical routes, dangerous on double moves on Friday nights and the camp setting. Shows good quickness within his routes, but can continue honing his route polish. Effective on back shoulder routes. Verified speed is average for the position, can continue adding strength to aid his ability to handle contact after the catch. There is your analysis of Andy Jean. Ready to see more of him this fall. A lot of people are excited about that gift for the Gators. So now, if you go back to some of the previous episodes, we talked about Florida, of course, now Aiden Mazzell and Eugene Wilson. Florida adding to the receiver profile here, Creed Whittemore there as well. What happens with Tyree Patterson? Still see a lot of rumors that maybe not going to be in the class. Maybe he'll flip to UCF. So probably something to look out for there. But Florida adding numbers to the receiver position in recent weeks. Had the big time gets of Mazzell and Wilson. Now add Andy Jean to the mix, where a lot of people are excited for that one. So, all right, when we look at it with those 2 commitments, Florida now sits at 16 commitments in the 12th ranked class in the country. What a move for the Gators in the last week or so. 12th ranked, 16 commitments. LSU sits at number 10, Tennessee at number 11. So Florida not too far behind 2 teams they play every year, LSU and Tennessee, sitting right there at 10 and 11. We got to keep the storyline going. 16 commitments right now for the Gators, 14 4-stars to the class. Compare that to just 2 3-stars, and the storyline keeps going for the one we're keeping up with as well. 14 of the 16 from the state of Florida. raising that floor big time with the 14 4-stars and making inroads in the state with 14 commits right now. So as you look at this Saturday and the commitments for the Gators that are continue to roll in, Jordan Castell, Andy Jean, making their pledges to the Gators. And if you were around, I'll go back to last night a little bit, Friday Night Lights. If you were around, you could tell these were, you guys keep up with a lot of the sites out there and Twitter and social media and stuff. Yeah, these weren't too big of surprises. Gene, it was more about kind of maybe when it would happen. But go back to Friday Night Lights and just being in that setting, you can tell maybe I'm getting caught up in the fanboy. Maybe I'm getting caught up in all the excitement there. But I'm telling you, from me, there is a lot of a hope, some optimism from what's going on out there. Seeing it behind the scenes, talking to a lot of people. The staff knows what they're doing. Will that produce instant results? Maybe not. But we're seeing a good string of commits right here. We know it's not ultimately where we want it to be. But, man, you got to like what the staff's been able to put together. And I'm telling you, being around it last night, I love the direction this thing's going. A couple things I've noticed. Cormani McLean showed up a little bit late there to Friday Night Lights, but, he wasn't working out or anything. So nothing big there. Kelby Collins comes in, of course, the state of Alabama defensive lineman, one of the top 70 defensive linemen in the country. He was at the hip of Gator commit TJ Searcy pretty much all night long. TJ Searcy, Gators commit, doing a good job there of kind of getting with Collins, showing him the ropes around Gainesville there. But that was pretty good to see right there. Hung out with a lot of the Jacksonville area kids. Trayon Webb there. If you guys follow him on social media, you can absolutely tell he's got it going. Big time trying to pull a lot of commits for the Gators right now. So he's doing his job recruiting for the Gators right now. Sharif Denson, talks to him. He's definitely going to be, hey, there's my dog coming in. You probably hear him walking around a little bit. Definitely, he's got a history with Cormani McLean. He's going to be on him. Hopefully, Friday night, Saturday, during the cookout. So a lot to look forward to there. But then you're talking to those guys, you could tell they're excited to be Gators, and you could tell they're excited to help build this class. That's probably the most important aspect of it. And that's why I'm hoping somebody like Cormani McLean, if you got the inkling to want to get into the class early, get in early and you help build the class. That's what a lot of these kids are doing. Webb and Denson that I talked to, Stokes there. Those guys are wanting to commit or wanting to recruit for their university that they've committed to. And the rest of this class filling out, whatever happens this weekend, is going to be because of those group of players that Florida has right now. As I mentioned, Collins was right there with Searcy all night long. Florida's got I think a pretty good group of guys here that want to be Gators, and they want to make a lot of those other big targets out there Gators. And I think that's going to go a long way. And to be in that environment of Friday Night Lights, you could see it. I mean, there was a lot of coaches out there, high school coaches and parents, giving shout outs to the Gator coaching staff that was there. Then I think that's going to extend over to the family. Probably the biggest thing I took away in talking to a lot of people there are the families of these commits and the families of the recruits there love this staff. And that's eventually going to pay dividends down the road. That's one aspect of it. Now, of course, there's other aspects out there. But that one aspect right there, I think, is going to go a long way for Florida. Sorry, guys. Just keep checking my phone, making sure I'm not missing anything right there. But that was some of the big, kind of the big takeaways there from Friday Night Lights. I love the direction, love what we're hearing about these commits, the targets, family atmosphere. Hearing a lot of good things about the cookout. We'll see if there's an effect for getting some more commits down the road. Don't necessarily have to pay dividends in the days right after Friday Night Lights and the days right after the cookout. And this may be laying the groundwork for some commits down the road in this class, the 24 class and the 25 class. DJ Lagway, the big-time 24 quarterback, on campus right here all weekend. Florida laid a foundation for trying to get a quarterback like that in the next class. It's another reason you like building this class up. There's a lot of commits on campus right now. But some of the takeaways there for Friday Night Lights, kind of what's going on that I've noticed a little bit behind the scenes. So, all right, there we go. That'll do it for this episode of these previews. Let me peek in here at the comments here. Let's see. Let's see, John Quarles asked, who can we expect to get soon? Pretty much, went over that right there. Kelby Collins be somebody I'll be looking for. Can Florida go target a linebacker at the same time? Probably going to have to get some flip candidates for linebacker. Not if you want the quality at the position. There's a lot to prove that position. Offensive line, of course, we're waiting on those. But I like where we're going in a lot of the other places there. So we'll see where we're heading to. All right. So there's a lot to read to there. All right. There we go, everybody. If you want to continue the conversation, you can head to Gators Breakdown Plus Discord, and I'll be on there pretty much all day today on this Saturday. Family's out of town for the weekend, and hey, it was kind of perfect. Everything that went on, following everything that's been going on this weekend, kind of the one last big hurrah for recruiting with fall camp starting this coming up week. Friday Night Lights is always that way. These cookouts, having a lot of success with that. Kind of the last hurrah for recruiting before the season starts. Hopefully in the coming days, I'm sitting here bringing you some more commitment videos. But coming up this week, fall camp. It's a lot to get excited for, as football's right around the corner. So, all right. That'll do it for this episode of Gators Breakdown. I'm your host, David Waters. You can find me on Twitter at GatorDave_SEC. Guys and girls out there, thank you for listening to this episode of Gators Breakdown.